Hello, welcome to African STEM Girl. Today we are going to finalize on adding functionality to our login form. So yesterday we were able to toggle or to make the password visible so that whenever anyone is typing the password, they're able to see what they're typing. Today we are going to continue with adding more functionality to our form. The first thing we are going to do is to edit our JavaScript code. Yesterday we left off with an error, so we are just going to look at that correction and to be able to make us to see both the login and the sign up form. And then after that, we are going now to start authenticating the password and also the email so that somebody can be able to go ahead and log in. So let's get right into it. I am going to share my screen and I'm going to find where the file are, and we are going to continue to code from there. Great. So currently just have a blank Google Chrome page. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you how to access your Visual Studio online. So we opted to use the online option so that anyone who does not have Visual Studio installed can easily just continue with the session as well. So we come to the browser and we just type VS Code online, or the link is actually vscode .dev. There it is. I am going to drop also the link to this in the chat section. So we said Visual Studio is an IDE, and what we mean by an IDE is a development environment. So it's where it allows us to be able to run our code and to see how what we have typed has caused an effect in our project. So, and I say that when you have IDEs, it's just similar to you being able to make something in the kitchen. You have to be in the right environment so as to prepare something. So because we have been doing this project for some time, it shows me that recent there is a form here. In case you do not have this, you just click on the open folder and you navigate to where your files are. So I'll just click on the recent. In case this is your first video, kindly find part 1 of this series and you can be able to follow through on how to create a folder and create the necessary files. So yesterday we were in our JavaScript. We created a script.js and file where we are going to write our JavaScript code, and we also connected it to our HTML because HTML contains the structure of the website, and we are just making that website to be responsive using JavaScript. And we make websites to be responsive or the structure to be responsive by making sure that each and every HTML, or not each and every, but where we want our HTML code to have a response when the user clicks, to actually be accessed from the JavaScript side. So I'm just going to remove this code. This is a code that was bringing an error, so I'm just going to remove it, and I urge you guys to remove it. Let me just undo that to show which code. The one for the links, we are just going to remove that for now. If this is your first session, don't worry, you can just continue watching, and then afterwards you can go ahead and check out the other 3 videos that we have up. So let me show you how our project currently looks like, and you can chat with me in the chat section in case you have any question. So this is how our project looks like so far. We have the sign up page and we also have the login page. We will not be able to see the login page mainly because it is beneath the the sign up page, but our goal right now is to see how can we make it accessible such that when I click login, I'm able to go to the login page, and when I click sign up, I am able to come to the sign up page. So that is the responsibility we have to accomplish today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create what we call a function, a JavaScript function. In JavaScript, functions are used to execute a particular result. For example, I can create a function that anytime it is 7 a.m., the alarm goes on, or I can even create a function that anytime it's 11 a.m., I get a notification that the YouTube live is about to start. So that is a function that you have created. So, you have created a set of specific instructions to accomplish a specific goal. So that is also what we are going to do here. We are going to create a function, and there are multiple ways you can create a function in JavaScript. All that resource is in our resources. So in the description, there is a form you fill in, and we send you the resources that we have. So there are different ways you can create a function in JavaScript. You can create a function using what we call a function declaration, a function expression, and an arrow function. So we have used an arrow function before. This is an example of an arrow function. Oops, sorry, there's something I have done. This is an example of an arrow function. You can see it has that arrow effect so anytime you see this means you are creating an arrow function. So right now we are going to use a function declaration. Hi, so I'm going to write function, and then I'm going to write the name of the function. There are several rules in creating a function name. The first thing is it should not have any spaces. Where you need to separate two words, it is advisable you use an underscore or a dash. Also, it's not advisable to start a function name with a number. A function name can contain numbers inside of it, but it should not start with a number. The other thing is your function name should be descriptive of what it does. What does it exactly do? Whatever you want it to do, you add that description. I mean, that is the function the function name you give. So for example, the function that sets me a reminder whenever it's 11 a.m. that it is time for the YouTube live, I can create a function known as YouTube reminder, something like that. So also, if you want to know more about function, kindly just drop your email in the resources, and we'll make sure we send it to you. So like I said, we'll send all resources by the end of this week, and you're going to continue with it. So, and we'll also send you the code so that you can end step by step on how to do this also. So we're just going to write show sign up. So that is going to be my function name, because I want to be able to create a code that allows me to move from the login page to the sign up page. So in case you want to see how our finished code will look like, or what we are trying to do, or what we are trying to accomplish, this is the final code we want to. When we click the login option should always be the first thing people see, and then it asks them, do you have an account? Then sign up, and then it takes them to the sign up page. So currently we are seeing only the sign up page. We already wrote code for the login page, so we just need to make it visible. So I'm just going to create a function, like I've said, called show sign up. So when you create a function, you write the word function, and then you create, this is what we call the function name, put it in curved brackets afterwards, and then you put a curly brackets. Inside the curly bracket is where you're going to write the codes that you want the function to do, or what you want the function to actually accomplish. So in this case, I want to be able to see my login and to hide my sign up whenever necessary. So this for show sign up, we want to hide the login page and see the sign up page. So I am just going to create, actually, let us start with the show login so that it can immediately take effect. So we say I want to see the login page. So let us do the one for the login. So I'll come ahead and say document. So whenever we write the word document, we are referring to the HTML file. So we are saying access something in that HTML document. And to access it, we use query selector. So I'm like, access it using the query selector. So using the query selector, I want you to access an element which has the class name of login. So for example, I'll come here. When we look at the login form, so we have two forms here. We have the sign up and the login form. So all this we have done in our previous classes. We have written all this code. So just make sure that you have that as well. So as you can see, there is a container here. Anytime you see a div, just know it's a container. So there is a container here that has two classes. The first class is form, has two class names. The first class is form and the second class is login. The reason why we have two is because when we have the word form, the class form, it will allow us to have the same CSS styling even for sign up. So as you can see, for sign up, we also have the class name form and sign up. So when we want the form to have the same styling, we want them to have the same colors, we want them to have the same height, the same background color. There's no need of styling all the repetitive code over and over again. All you can do is take note of what you are going to reuse and just give them a class name and style them at once. And then what you want to be unique, you now add a unique class name. So like this one is sign up and there is login. You add a unique class name and that will allow you to be able to only manipulate or to only work with that element. So I cannot use the class name form because it will make me to see both the login and the sign up. Because I only want the login form, I'll go to where it's written login. So I'll come here to my script.js and query select and write .login. So that will allow me to access only the element that is under the login class. Remember, when anything is a class, you start with a dot. And then so query select, and then we write .style .display. So, oh, sorry, something it has auto-completed something for me. So .style .display. What this means is I am now editing the style. So I have gotten the HTML element and I want to add a style that allows me to see the login form and to hide it whenever necessary. To see that login form, we use what we call a display property in CSS. So if I come here and I say display in CSS, let us see how it will look like, how it normally looks like, and how it normally behaves. So you can either use W3 schools or MDM. Either of them are really, really good. So as you can see, there are different values you can put in the display property. You can have display block, display inline block, display none, display flex, and display grid. And I think in CSS, if you remember, we really did play a lot with display flex. So block is usually the default, or it just allows you to add the elements and to make the elements visible. So sometimes, but inline block, it allows you to put the elements, they're in a row, but it's contained in that particular block. And just block, it is not fully contained. So, but with inline block, it fits that defined container you have given it. But when you say none, you won't see anything now. It is like hidden. It hides the content. And that's what we want. We want, when I click sign up, here, it hides the login page. When I click login, it hides the sign up page. So that is where we use display. So I'll come here and say this style.display, and then I say I want this to be, whenever I click the login, I want this to be block. This will allow us to reveal it. So you can put any value, flex and all that, but it's not advisable to manipulate it so much. On the JavaScript side, you manipulate it more on the CSS side, and that's what we did. So we'll come here and now access the document, the HTML document again. You access that using query selector and say go to the class that has the sign up form and hide it now. So in our CSS, in our HTML, when we scroll down, we find that the form that has the sign up also has a class sign up. So I'll come here and I say dot sign up, and I will say now dot style dot display. I'll say the display to be none. So we don't want the sign up form to be displayed. So we have created a function. We have something, that specific code that does a specific thing. It hides the sign up page and reveals the login page. However, how do we now make sure whenever I click this button, this one, it is for the sign up. Whenever I click the sign up form, whenever I click login, it actually shows the login page. I have to go to where this link is and add what we call an event listener. Yesterday, I also talked about event listeners. We looked at when we were doing the show password. Remember this one where somebody is able to see their password, hide and see their password. We talked about adding an event listener. And I also gave you the example of your power button. Anytime you click on your power button, either on your laptop or on your phone, there is an event listener added to that button that anytime you click on it, a specific function runs. Either it turns it on or off. So the same thing, we have to add an event listener that will allow us to be able to navigate from the login page to the sign up page. And there are two ways you can do that. You can do that on the HTML side, or you can do that on the JavaScript side. So last time or yesterday, I showed you how to add an event listener. Here it is, using the click function, I mean the click event on the JavaScript side. So today I'll show you how to do it from the HTML side. So we'll come to our HTML. So we want to show the login page. So I'll go to where it is written login. I'll go to my HTML and I'll go to the sign up form, where that link is, where this word login is. That is where I'll go. So I'll go to where it's written already have an account here. And this is where I am going to add my event listener so that I can be able to add that function successfully. So here we have the login link, and we'll come ahead and say on click. Now say show login. So you give it the name of the function, and our name of the function is show login. And to prove it's a function, or to make sure that you add it as a function, you have to finalize or to end this with those curved brackets. So remember, we created a function called show login, and we created using the method called a function declaration, where you write the name function first, and then you write the name of the function. And it is advisable that your function name is descriptive of what you're trying to do. So because I'm trying to show the login page, I have given it the show login name, and then I end with these curved brackets, and then inside the curly brackets I will write whatever I want my function to do. So now I have to connect this to my HTML. So I come here and I say on click show login curved brackets, and this will allow me now to be able to navigate to the login page. Let us see if this works. Let me refresh. So I'll click login and voila, it works. I am now able to see the login page. However, if I click sign up, nothing is happening because our function was specific. It was only for the login page. So I have now to add a function for the sign up page. So I'll come here. It's going to be very, very similar, only that we are hiding the login page and revealing the sign up page. So I'll come here and I'll say function. So the function is going to be show sign up. So whenever, also another rule when you're writing function names is whenever you have a name that has two words, for example, this has the word show and sign up, you can either, the second name, you can start with a capital or you can put a dash. No, a dash will not actually work. You can use an underscore. You can use an underscore. So either you use an underscore or you start the second word with a capital letter. So don't put a dash and don't put anything else. Yeah, but you can also put a number, but you can't start a function name with a number. You can only put it inside your function name. So I'll come here now and say document. So remember, anytime we write the word document, we are trying to access the HTML file. So document, and then I'll say query selector. So now that I have accessed the HTML file, what do I want to do? I want to access a particular element. And right now I want to say, when you go to the login, I want you to add a style to hide that login page. So we say style dot display is equals to none. So what this will do is it will hide the login page. And then how do we make it now to reveal the sign up form? Not page, but form, document dot query selector. And then I'm going to say sign up dot style dot display. So what this will do is it will allow me to be able to reveal the sign up page. So I have to make sure that it is block. So if now I go to, I have to now connect my function to this button. Remember this button for don't have an account, sign up. I have to go to this link and connect that function using an event listener. So I'll come here and I'll scroll. So that button or that link is found in the login page. And I'll say don't have an account. So always remember to add the function or to add the event listener. Okay. To add the event listener. I don't know why my mouse is behaving the way it's behaving. Sorry about that. So to add the event listener in the opening tag of the particular element. So I want it inside the anchor tag, which is where we have the link and the word sign up. So I'll come here and I will write on click. So what do you want to make that function run? I want whenever somebody clicks. So you can, there are multiple events you can add. You can add on hover, that whenever somebody just moves their button, their mouse there, it shows, but we don't want that. It's not a good user experience. So I'll say show sign up. So this will allow me to run that function. So if I now refresh my screen, if I navigate to login, I'm able to go to the login page. If I click on sign up, I'm able now to go to the sign up page. So yeah, so that's cool. We have been able to do that. Any question up to that point? So remember, if you have a question, you make sure you add it. Somebody said, I forgot to type the code in JavaScript. Oh, okay. So just make sure you do. Maybe after the class, you can make sure you do that. So let us continue. So we have been able to show our login and our sign up page. So the other thing you will notice is when you visit most websites, the login page is what is seen at first, or like the default, mainly because the assumption is somebody logs in many times more than signing up. There's a possibility once you have signed up, you only sign up once, you only create an account once, and then every other time you will be logging in. So it's usually good programming practice to show the login page at all times, because that is what most users and recurrent visitors to continue. So I'll come here and I will just add that code to make sure that anytime that I load my website, it just doesn't show any form. It shows the login over and over again. You see, every time I refresh my browser, it's going to the sign up. I want to start with the login page specifically. So I'll come here and I'll say documents dot add event listener, and I'll say whenever I load. So like I said, there are multiple event listeners. Maybe it's good if I show you the different types of event listeners that are there. So event listeners in JavaScript. So there are so many. So this one I can use W3 School. It has a list, should have a list at the bottom of the screen. Okay, let me see. So you write the code by coding along. So that is the only way you can write the code. So as you watch the video, you can pause and then you write the code. Okay. So these are the different types of events that are there. So there is about to be when you are loading something and then you click X. There is the after print. So maybe if you're printing something, so maybe if you have an animation or something like that, there is the click, as you can see. There is the drag. There is, you can maybe, if you want something to happen when a user double clicks, there is full screen, what do you want to happen, or when somebody focus. I think we did a little bit on the CSS side, but you can also do it on JavaScript. You want to, when somebody focuses on something, maybe when they click or something, when they're adding an input, when they click, when they do key down, or when a key is pressed. I know sometimes when we are watching TV, it tells you, hey, click on any key to continue playing the TV. Maybe they're assuming you have played the TV for so long, and maybe you have slept or something. So they want to make sure the TV is going, they tell you the TV is going to switch off after some time. If you don't want that to happen, you click. So that is the same thing. So somebody asking, how do I get out of this video and then return later? So if you want to watch the other videos, just go to the African STEM Girl channel. So if you just go to your browser and you just or you access your YouTube, and you go to African STEM Girl, you'll see them here. So here they are. There are so many. So they're not that many. So we have the first one and the other two in this one. So you'll find them there. So hope that helps you. So like that said, there are so many HTML elements. I won't go on to all of them, but whenever you want something to happen, whenever the user loads your website, like you want, oh, I want this to happen, whenever you load the website, you can go ahead and add an event we call the DOM content loaded. So what this is doing is it's making sure you whenever you open up the website and you load this content, you want something to happen, we call that the DOM content loaded. It checks that everything has loaded, and then now you will add a function. So here now I'm adding an event listener on the JavaScript side. When what we did on here, when we were changing from one form to another using the on click and all that, we were using the HTML side. So here I'll come ahead now and create an arrow function. It is easier. So once you put these two brackets, it knows you're creating a function, and this is your arrow. And then now you go ahead and put these curly brackets to now write the specific code that you want to happen. So I'll say document dot query selector. I'll say, so when you have dot login, and then you can write dot style. So we want the login to always show. So this one is what you're going to give it a display of block. And then we are now going to continue and now make the sign up page to the display to be none. So somebody is calling me. Hey, you can just go ahead and type the question. I'll just see it. So I'll say dot sign up. Yeah, I am seeing you are calling me. Just go ahead and type the question or the concern. So I'll make this to be none. So what will happen now is anytime we load our website, we will always see the login, as you can see. So it's always the login. So now we have been able to accomplish that. We can now see, we can be able to toggle whenever somebody types the password, we can be able to see the password. We can now move to the sign up page, and whenever somebody types, we can also see the passwords. So whenever somebody refreshes, they're in the login. So let us move on to working on saving the, whenever somebody creates an account, the password, we put a limitation on how we want the password to be. Do you want it to be a particular number of passwords? What do you want it to contain and all that? How do you want the email to look like? There are some things that you can specify for your users. So that is what we are going to do. So the first one is, I'll start with the sign up page. So I'll say I want to have a particular password pattern that I can specify earlier on. Just scroll up. So I'll say const. So remember I said this is used to create variables. So if you missed that, kindly just go ahead and check in the past videos. So we are going to add what we call a regex. A regex is just, in full, is known as regular expression. So you can specify how you want elements to look like in an element, and for this case I want it to be a password. So let me just show you. If you come here and say password regex, so there are many rejects. So let me just choose JavaScript. So this is how you're able to say, oh, the password is weak, or is strong and stuff like that. So for example, if I want a password to have a minimum of 8 characters and a maximum of 15 characters, and you want it to include at least one lowercase, at least one uppercase, at least one numeric digit, and at least one special character, and also the length. This is how you go about and write it. So first you start with these slashes and you put this arrow pointing upwards, and then in bracket, the first one you say, I want it to have a special character, and I want it to, I want it to have, to contain small letters. I want it to contain capital letters. I want it to contain a number, and I want it to contain these special characters, and these are the special characters I expect, one of them, a square bracket, an @ sign, dot, and so forth. I also want it to contain at least one capital or one small letter and all the others, and I want it to be between 8 to 15. So this is how you go ahead and add the patterns that you want. So if you want it to be small letters only, you just add this front part. You add up to here. Okay, but you have to end with a slash. Okay, and this $sign. So the next one is, if you want it to be uppercase, you use this here, this part here, this part here. If you want it to be numeric, to have a numeric digit, you use this part here. This part here. You add that part. If you want it to have a special character, these special characters, you add this part here, and you specify the special characters you want to see. Okay, and you want it to be the length to at least be the total length to be 8 to 15. So you specify all of them. I want you to have a capital, a small letter, a number, the special characters, and to be between 8 and 15. You add it using this part here. So we can even just take all of this and copy it. And let me just send you this link also in the chat section for your reference. So you can just sit down and understand regex better, more in detail. I'll send you also another article to just understand regex as an overall. So I don't know why my mouse is really giving me a hard time. Let me just use my touchpad. So I'll come here and I will add it. So now I have a password pattern that I want to ensure it is followed all the time. So I'll come here, but before maybe I continue, let me give you that resource on regex while we are here. So regex in full just means regular expression. So, and you can apply it in so many things. So maybe how you want people to type, you only want them to type in capital letters, or you want them to type in small letters. So because we are doing JavaScript, and all programming language have a way where you can add the regex. So I think I can just send this and you can have a look at it. So there it is. So if you just scroll down, you'll see the different types of regex that you can add and how each pattern you want it to look like. So there are several. So just have a look at it. I feel like this is giving it a little bit better detail. Okay. So so I am now going to go to my sign up form and start picking up the values that the users type whenever a user types something, there is a value. So I want to make sure I capture that value on my JavaScript side. And not only that, we want to make sure that we are able to store it somewhere and check if does that user already exist. Is it checking the type of password I have put in? Is it telling you, oh no, already the password must contain this and this and this and this? So that is what we want to see. So I'll come here to my JavaScript. So now I will make sure I access the form. So we had already actually accessed it, the sign up form, and we were able to have it on our JavaScript side. And when we console logged it, we could see it. So if you do not know what I mean, so after the session, you can just go and watch the other videos to know what I mean. So I console logged the form on line 10. So I can inspect. So what I mean is if I have my website like this, I right click and I go to where it's written inspect, and I go to the top where it's written console, and I'll see line 10. I'll see there is a form, and I can see this is indeed the JavaScript. I mean, this is indeed the sign up form. You can see I have the email, the password, and the confirm password field is also there. So this shows me that I have been able to successfully access the HTML form that I created on the JavaScript side. So I can go ahead and be able to do several things on it now, like validating what the user is putting in. So I'm going to come here and say sign up form, because the reason why I'm writing sign up form is because I created a variable. So remember, for in the last session we said variables are memory locations that allow us to store something. So I created a variable using the const keyword, and I was able to access the form using the classes that I have, and then I was able to console log that. So all this is explained in the previous videos. So I'll come here and I say sign up form, and I'll say add event listener. And I can say I want whenever the user clicks on submit. So submit is also another event listener. So whenever somebody clicks on the button, what do we want to do? Or whenever they are submitting the form, what do we want it? What do we want to happen? So the first thing is we add an arrow function to be able to add the custom code. But this time the arrow function is a little bit different because it will be listening on an event. It's a in expect for, sorry for those who don't speak Swahili, it will be expecting for you to click. It will wait till you click on this button so that it can run the code. Like when you click on your power button, there is a code that turns off the phone or it turns it on. So the same thing, we will add an event listener. To add an event listener, you can just, or to specify the event, you can just add the word E, or you can write event, whichever you choose. But in the recent JavaScript, they removed the full word event and now they just use E. So now what we are saying is listen in and see if the user tries to submit the form. Listen for the event or the activity of the user clicking the submit button, or they try to submit the details they have put in. And then what we want them to do, we add our arrow function. We now to add our code, we say, first of all, go and say const email. So I am creating a variable that will store the value that the user puts in on the email. So I'll create a variable known as email, and I say sign up form, because that email is inside the sign up form. We say sign up form dot query selector, and I will go and capture. So remember the email, where is the email being captured? Let us revisit. So in our JavaScript form, in our HTML form, there is this email. there is this form we call the sign up form that we have just accessed. So we have said there is a field of type email. No, there is an input of type email. So this is what is storing what the user is writing. So we'll come here to our JavaScript and we say input type into quotation marks email. I'll close those quotation marks and also close my brackets. So notice there is, so we first go in the sign up form. And then in that sign up form, I want you to go to the input field of email that has the type email. So to do that, we write it like that. So query select the input, put it in quotation marks, input into square brackets type email. Because there is more than one input. There is one that has type password and another one that has type password. So I have to specify what I want to capture. And then I say dot value. So what will this do? Okay, dot value. What will this do? This will make sure that it is capturing what the user types. So if I try and console log this and console log email, so I said when you write console log, you're just going to see the result in the console. So if I come here and I type African STEM girl, .com, and I click sign up. So first of all, because it is an email, it shows me there is an error. Please include the at. So I had forgotten. So at Gmail. If I try now and submit, it goes. Where does it go? If I right click and go to inspect, where does that value go to? Okay, let me try and capture it again. Let me refresh my page. Go to sign up. I type my email, just typing what I had typed before. We want to see if we can be able to capture it. So here it is. You can see it has been captured. It has captured that value, africanstemgirl@gmail.com. And you can see this is on script.js line 47. If I come here, I see I console logged it on line 47. So I'm able to capture that input. So that means I can be able to save it somewhere. And yesterday I said for us at the moment, we are not going to save our inputs to the database because we are currently only dealing with the front end. The front end is what the user sees. We are not dealing with the back end. So I will now do the same for the password. I write password and I say in the sign up form, I'll say dot query selector. Now capture the input that has type password. Sorry, not email, but password. And notice for email, there are two, right? We have one, I mean, for signing up, there are two. We have one for confirm password, the field for confirm password, and we have for create password. So we will, when we type, we will capture both of them because here in my index.html, both of them have the type password. Yeah, so this we have type password and type password. This one, the placeholder create password, confirm password. This is the text we are seeing, and the class is password and password. So we are now going to come here. Let us type it. So I will just type something and type something. So I will inspect before I click submit, because if I inspect, it won't go to the login page, and I don't want it to do that. If I don't inspect, it will go to the login page and we won't be able to see the result. So I'll click. Oh, let me refresh. I have to refresh. Okay. Identifier password. There is an error on line 48. Is there something, or I didn't finish? Oh, I didn't write. Oh, this should be const. I wrote console. And then I haven't also console logged password. Password. Yep. So we are expecting to see the password on line 49 and the email on line 47 in our console. So I'll come here and I'll just type. So if I click sign, I have to refresh. Sorry. Because I'm using the browser-based version, I have to refresh. So I have to come here, .sg. I was using the Visual Studio downloaded on my machine. I think I wouldn't have needed to refresh. So I'm using the browser-based version for the sake of those who don't have Visual Studio installed. So yeah, so let us see what it has done. It has instead shown me input. Oh, I didn't put dot value. You see, it's just line 49. It's just showing me the input, but it has showed me the email. So the reason I'm saying that is because here at the end, I haven't put dot value. So I write dot value so that it actually shows me what I type inside of it. Let me refresh again. Go to the sign up page. And then I click sign up. So now I am able to see the value. I am able to see asg@gmail.com and the password value. I wrote just 12345 6. So now we are able to see what we have put in on both ends. So that means we can be able even to confirm if the passwords are the same and stuff like that. So I'll come here and also to confirm if the user has put in the password based on the pattern we have specified. So I'll come here and continue now adding more functionality. So let us validate that password. Have you put in the password and the password that we expect? So in JavaScript, there is what we call JavaScript method, and there is a method known as test method in JavaScript. So this is normally used to test if what you have automatically, it knows it's testing something. For example, it is testing, this one is testing if there is a letter E in this sentence. So we want to test if our password has met the regex that we specified, or the pattern that we specified it should have. The other thing we want to do is to, okay, let us first do that part before I offload too much. So I'll say if, so we add an if statement. We say password pattern dot test. So test if that password, so we put in this password variable. So remember, we created a const password and we specified. So we want to test if this password here matches that password pattern. Okay, and then we can say console log strong password. You can write strong password. That's what we mostly see in most websites. Strong. So I'm just doing this part to test and show you, and then you can write else. If it is not correct, so the first here, it will say if it is actually matching that pattern, then show strong password. Else, show weak password. Write a strong password. So let us see if this will work. So I'll come here and I will refresh. It's always good to double check your code every step of the way to see if it is actually working as expected. And that's why we do console log. It helps us to double check everything before you write your code and you're trying to figure out what am I getting wrong, and you can't figure it out mostly because you have not checked your work. So I'll come here and add an email. And I'll add now the password. I'll add a strong password. We just see what will happen. So it shows me weak password because I've put the password again as 1234. So you see it's showing me weak password. Write a strong password. So let me see if I write a strong password, it will show me the correct thing. I can reduce this a little bit. I can zoom this out a little bit so that you guys can see. Wait, there's usually fit to window. Can that work? No. Okay. So, okay. Let us also, yeah. So let me write a password here. So I'll just make this visible so that I am seeing what I'm writing. So it should have at least one letter, one capital letter. It should have at least one number. It should have at least one special character. It should have one small letter. What else did we say? It should be around 8 characters. So I can now add something like that. So let me copy this and also paste it. Wait, what are those 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, let me add one more. What is null? 48. Yeah, so somebody has to hide so that it picks it as a password. Remember, we said when you want to reveal, you change the type to text. So when you hide, you change the type to password. And also, I think we can add and when the user is not focused, yani they're not typing, if they move away, it automatically hides. Let me just write that down so that I make sure I add that functionality. Focus out, something like that. Yeah, so now it shows me, okay, that is a strong password. So it has been able to confirm that that is a strong password. So let us go ahead and okay. So let us go ahead and store the values. Since we have put in the email, we have put in the password, let us go ahead and store those values. The other functionality I will add, I realized I forgot to add it in my code, is if checking if these two passwords actually match. So it's just pretty simple. You just add you put them in different class names, and then once the user types, it double checks. So I'll just do that. So I want us to introduce the concept of storage. There are multiple types of storage you need to know about that you can manipulate in the front end before you send information to the database. And as developers, we normally use this a lot. Or as a developer now, it's normally good to make use of this, because sometimes when you're waiting for information to come from the database, it might take a long time, and you don't want that to happen when a user is trying to sign up. As we know right now, we really want our applications to be fast and all that. So what we normally do, there are several types of storage you can make use of. There's something we call a session storage, and there's something we call a local storage. A session storage stores information that the user has, as long as the user is on that page, like is on that window. Like right now, I am in the Google Chrome window. In case I reload or I move away, I go to another window, that information is no longer stored. So it has a disadvantage. But it's also really good because it does not give hackers an opportunity to get access to your information. Like I think sometimes you have seen this when you go to another website, and the website you're in, you had logged in and you are on another website and you have not even closed the tab, and you stay on this other website for like 30 minutes. When you go back, it tells you, oh, session timed out, log in again. That is because they have used session storage. They give a timeout. So even in the session storage, you can put a time limit. You can say, don't delete the information for 30 minutes. But after 30 minutes, the person has to log in again. And this can also be done with what we call local storage. So local storage allows you to be able to store information, but on a longer period. So we will normally find this information. So I've talked about session storage and local storage. So we'll normally find this information if you come to your here after you have inspect, click here and go to security. No, it's not in security. I keep, for some reason, this part, my mind has refused completely to store this value. I do this all the time. I am coding. It's usually application. I'm sure it's application. Yes, it's application. Yes, no, don't forget. So in application, you will find those different types of storage that are accessible on the browser side. We have what we call local storage. I've talked about this. It gives you like a longer time span with the content. And this one, you can easily, it can store your information, and this can easily lead to hackers accessing your information. Same with also as session storage. So you have to be very careful with the type of information you're storing here in the local and in the session. So even as developers, we kind of try to, when we are storing something temporarily in the session storage or in the local storage, you can encrypt it so that if somebody is observing your web movements, they do not understand what is happening. Okay, so we have local storage and session storage. We have cookies. I'm so sure you guys have seen this thing of, hey, accept cookies, and so forth and so forth, because cookies will allow them to gain the data that they need to know maybe some of the frequent pages that you visit, but that also depends with the code that they have attached to the cookie. I can write a code that that takes even your bank information if you pay something on my website. And you see, that is it's not ethical, because I can use those bank information details to access your bank account. So that is why it's normally advisable when you're on site and it tells you to accept cookies, or it's good to always deny majority of the time. So if the website you cannot access use before without accessing cookies, you normally go to something we call view the website using incognito. Sorry. How to view the website using incognito? You come here to the top, don't mind the relaunch to update, and you click incognito like this. So now if this now will make sure that that website will not prompt me for cookies in case some websites, they refuse you to see the information without accepting cookies. And if you don't want to accept cookies, which I urge you, never accept cookies. So if you don't want to, just view the website using incognito. And with this, it won't give you that prompt. You will be able to navigate the website. Okay, so those are the different types of storages that you can access on the front end. So let us go ahead and see how we can store this information in our local storage. And when we access, we will see the values here. So we use local storage or session storage. For now, I'll show you local storage. I urge you to go ahead and research on session storage. I will also try and create a resource on the same so that I can share it with you, but also I know you guys are developers. You should go ahead also and look up something on your own. So we have already tested the password up to that point. I'm just going to delete this code for strong password and weak password for now. I had added it because I just wanted us to see how that will work. So in here, put the curly brackets, the closing, and then we write on the inside. So I'll say if, I'll add another if, and I say local storage. So to store something to the local storage, we normally write the word local storage and then we say get item. So this will capture whatever you want it to capture. So I'll say email. Yeah, so this will capture the email, and I'll say if it's once it has captured the email, see if the email already exists. So there is a code we will write, but for now we can just console log it. Let us just console log it. I will write a code that checks if that message is already there. So I can type in console.log email. Just write that. Email. Okay. And then I'll say else. So get, actually we can say user already exists. Sorry. So get allows us to check and get if the information already exists. So it checks, is there an email like that one? If it is there, maybe let us say user already exists. Please log in. Okay. Let us go to else. Now, else is the user does not exist. What do you want to happen? We want to come, we'll create a variable that stores that information inside something we call a JavaScript object. A JavaScript object is normally written like this. So first I create my variable. A JavaScript object is normally written with curly brackets like that. And then you say email, full colon, and then now we will store the email value in there. Sorry, put a comma. And then we write password. I accidentally did not switch off my laptop yesterday, so I think I can feel as if it's a little bit slow to what I am typing, and I'm doubting it's because I forgot to turn it off. So now what will happen is it will store that data, the email and the password, inside an object known as user data. So let us now put this user data inside local storage. So I'll come and say local storage dot set item, and then we say email JSON. So you have to do something we call storing it in JSON format. So that is something you should also look into, and it's also in the resources. JSON.stringify user data. So I've said if you want the resources, there is a form you fill in the chat section, in the description of this video. So yeah. So now what this will do is we can have maybe an alert saying sign up successful. I know today is a little bit content heavy, but that's just programming. So let us see how this will look like. Let us see if it is able to store our information up to that point. And if it is able to confirm if you already have a user with that email existing. So I have to refresh so that it picks up those changes. I'll go to sign up. So I won't fully close it. I will just leave it like that. Okay, let me just leave it like that. So we're in local storage. So I'll come here and I'll put my email. Let me first let me just put in the correct. I wanted to put in a wrong password, but let me just put in a password that works, because we have already tested the validation of the password and we have seen it is working. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. I think I can copy this, or I can't. Okay, I'll just type it. G2. Okay, so I'll have to turn off the viewing so that it saves it as type password. So now we can see that there is in the local storage now there is a value. The key is ASG email. This allows us to be able to, and this can be anything, by the way. It doesn't have to be. I think I will actually change it so that here now, when I click on this, I can actually maximize this so you can see it well. When I click on this, I see it has captured that my email and my password is this. So what happens if I try to click sign up again? What has happened? Wait, let me go to the console. I don't know if I had said it should write in the console. So it tells me user already exists, please log in. So what has happened is the code now has checked, oh, do such information exist in the application? Yeah, if it does, user already exists, please log in. So we have been able to store our information. Our website is able to check if that information already exists and all that. So I was saying here where it is showing the item as here, set item email, I should put this, let me see, put this as credentials. Yeah, or no, let us use user data. Let us just, okay, let me just leave it like that. I've realized why I wrote it as email, to make it simpler for another step. So yeah, so now we have been able to store the user information on local storage. We have been able to confirm, does it give you a pop-up? So maybe rather than console logging, user already exists, let me use an alert. So that it shows up at the top. So if let me just try and refresh this. And the other thing is, when you refresh, as long as the information is on local storage, that information will not disappear. But if I was using session storage, it would disappear. So that is why I use the local storage to just create like a dummy database that we can use here on the JavaScript. Let me just confirm. Okay. And if I click sign up, it tells me user already exists, please log in. So that's the difference between an alert and a console. So the alert will show up at the top and I can click OK. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. So I'll now come in and say else show. So the thing is now, what should happen if the test, when it is testing the password and finds that that password does not meet the password pattern, what do you want to happen? So this first, whenever we have the first if, it normally writes the code for when everything is right. So else is what happens if everything is not right. So I'll say show, I can just say, there's a code I need to write. But here I can just say alert. For now, I can write alert, password, oh, everything in capital. Password must contain. So we can put in the values that we had in our password. Okay, looks like I accidentally closed that, but I have it in the chat section. Okay, I can't get to it. So I just write password rejects JavaScript. Actually, here it is. Just this one. So we want to be a minimum of 8 characters and to include the following. So I'll just copy those specifications. Oops. It's a long specification. But I just wanted to show you how you can accomplish it. So Control C. Yep. So don't panic. Just come and remove. Each to 15 characters. And remove all this. I don't need it. So it must include the following. So it's showing me those errors because there are so many quotation marks here that it is confusing JavaScript a little bit. But wait, I do have. Okay, so let me remove this. Okay. at least one alphabet and so forth. So they have to be on the same line. It's going to be a long sentence, but I think the alert is not able to, for some reason, capture the different sentences in different lines. But also it makes sense because the alert is really not supposed to be used for such long sentences. So this is something that should not be here, but we're just doing it right now, just to, for beginner purposes. Okay. So else alert the user that the password must contain at least those types of values that you have put there. And then also, I think that's it. So if the password here is verified and it's okay, go ahead and check if already that exists. The email already exists in the local storage. If it does, it will tell you the user already exists, please log in. And then else, capture that data in a variable known as user data, capture the email and the password and set it on the local storage, and then alert that the sign up has been successful. So those are some of the things you can do. And now even here, once somebody signs up, you can come here and add the function. Remember the function for showing the login page? You can come here and add it there. So you can say show login. So now if somebody now is able to sign up, I just have to refresh, unfortunately. If somebody signs up, let me just copy this in, that's this password. Even we can also, before I continue, remembered, so apart from also sign up successful here, when it tells you user already exists, we can also redirect the password, what is happening, the password to the show login page. So we can come here, let us refresh this again. So if the user also already, I'll put in the same information and see if it will redirect me to the login page. I don't know why my mind is just stuck on password. Okay, so if I log in, so it tells me user already exists and it automatically directs me to the login page. It tells me login instead. So yeah, we have been able to finish up on the sign up. So let us go to the login functionality and see how that will work. So the login functionality, the main thing is that it will have to see if this information already stored in the local storage matches the information you put in. So here we have the login form. We had already gotten it from the HTML side. So I'll come here. Okay, so I'll come here to a new line and I write login form dot add event listener, and I will say if the event is when the user submits the form. So if you hear, or if you, why is my stuff in capital? Should be small. Yeah, so if you hear the submit functionality, so track the movement of the that button, somebody clicking on that button, listen into the event listener using the arrow function. I'll now go ahead and write what I want to happen. So I'll say const email login form. What has happened? Login form dot query selector. So to select, to capture, I think Okay, I did not try to load with it wasn't small. Query selector. So we are trying to capture this login form now. Yeah. We have this login form. That's what we are trying to capture. This input for email and the input for password. So those are the things we are capturing. So I'll come here and I'll say into brackets input type is equals to email, and then we put dot value. So let us continue now for the password. So we'll say const password is equals to the login, since we are still inside the login form, dot query selector into brackets input type is equals to is equals to password. Yeah, so now we have both the so we have to put dot value. So I won't keep console logging just because, okay, but let us console log just to make sure everything is working as we expect. Email, and here put console.log password. So what now will happen is there is the email field and the password, but in the login. So let us go and see if that is being captured in the login. So I'll now change this from application to console. Let me just decrease this a little bit. So I'll say I'll put in the value. So I'll put in just any password for now because we have not put the code for checking if the password is what already exists. We just want to see if this works. Did that work? Oh, let me refresh. I think I did not refresh this page. Yeah, let me try that again. So we see it is capturing the email and the password that the user put in. So let us go and make sure it makes sure that the information the user is putting in is what we already have in our local storage. So I'll come here and create another variable and I'll call this stored user. And I will say JSON dot path. So remember, we put the information as a JSON and we stringified it. Now, there is something, all this information, what it means when I say stringify and what it means when I say pass, this JSON stringify, and when I say pass is in our resource. So just make sure you leave your details in the form in the description of this video, and you will receive that resource. But also you can just go ahead and Google what we mean by JSON parsing and stringifying. So parse now changes whatever you put in JSON to a format that the computer this code can be able to access and manipulate. When you stringify, you're trying to store that information in a database. So you want to send that information as a JSON. But when you parse it, you want to access it in such a way that now it's no longer how you're storing it, it's how you can be able to access it and read what is happening. So I'll say pass local storage. So we are passing the information inside the local storage that we saved. So say we say get item email. The reason why we are writing the word email is mostly because when we come here and we come to our application, we stored the value, the key value as email. This key, once we access the key, we will get inside the values. So that is why I use the word I'm using here, email. So look for something that has that email, and when you find it, what do I want it to do? I come and say if stored user. So if this value here, stored user, and in programming and in JavaScript, when you want to write the word and, you use these signs. They are known as ampersands. So and stored user dot password. So now we are trying to access the password inside this dictionary. So when you go to the password, what do I want it to do? I want it to check that value. So I'll use this. So check that value using this value that has been captured, whatever the user has put in. So check the value that is inside local storage, see if it matches the value that the user have just put in right now. So the reason why we use these three is equals is because in programming, those is equals are normally used for comparison. So in this case, it will check the value and the type. It will make sure the type is password and that the value is also what the type is password, and that the value is what we already have in our local storage. And then if it is indeed the same, go ahead and alert and say login successful. And then we say else, go ahead and alert and say username, email, this time we're using email or password is incorrect. So what that does is it's able now to tell you, okay, so either the username or the email you have put in is incorrect. Okay, so we have now been able to validate that. So let us see if this will work. Let me refresh, and I'll start with putting a false password. And I'll just put in a false password there. I will look at it. So it tells me email or password is incorrect. Okay, let me put in the correct password now. Let me just double check. Okay, and I log in. And it tells me login successful. So we have been able to sign up, and we have also been able to log in. There is a lot more styling that you can put to make sure that those error messages are showing up as expected and so forth. So is there anyone, I hope no one is confused or anything, but now we have been able to create a login and a sign up form. We have been able to check the information from the login and the sign up. The only thing that we did not do in this particular project is the forgot password functionality. You know, you guys normally get that sent on your email as a link where you're able to put in a new password. Also logging in with Facebook and logging in with Google. Those use a principle known as OAuth. That is a whole other lesson that hopefully down the line we'll be able to do. But right now, I just wanted to show you how to create a simple login and a sign up form, and also how to validate the users. So I hope this session was insightful for you. In the resources section, I will send the code for I will add in the book that the resource I will send you it will be in form of a book. I will send you how to check both the to confirm the password in the sign up, and I will send you how to make sure that whenever we move our mouse outside this password form, when we have put hide, it whenever we move our mouse it hides automatically so that it changes that type. What other thing would I want to do? Maybe add more styling on errors, so that you can be able to know how to do that. So that book will really be insightful. So make sure you leave your email in the description box so that you can receive that resource on your email account. You should have it by the end of this week. So tomorrow we will do another project. We'll start another HTML project and use some styling and also use JavaScript and see how it will look like. So see you tomorrow. Have a nice remainder of the day. In case of any question or concern, just drop it in the comment section. So yeah, so bye-bye.